Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and I feel that everybody playing World of Warcraft is patiently waiting for patch 8.2. It's looking like a very exciting patch with a lot to do, a whole new zone, new dungeon, new raid, as well as multiple updates that are going to be very good for the game. So due to me just being simply excited to play 8.2 whenever it comes out, I kind of want to go over all of the different exciting features that 8.2 will come with. Maybe you're someone who's playing the game right now and you want to find out what's in the future, or you're someone who unsubscribed for the current being and is thinking maybe come back in 8.2. Hopefully this video will give you a bit of an idea of what is happening in the future of World of Warcraft. The first update is the fact that they're changing the necklace by a little bit. Not really sure exactly how they're going to change the whole necklace and Azeroth gear system, but as soon as it comes out for patch 8.2 for us to test, I'll be the first person giving my opinion on it. Whether you like the system or not, I think a lot of us can agree. The fact that Blizzard developers do realize that, yeah, we made some mistakes here and there, and we do want to improve, the fact that they're looking to improve the experience of your general player is a good thing. Wishing them all the best in all of the future fixes. Just like back in Legion on an update where we got the Broken Isles, which was a brand new zone for all of us to discover, in patch 8.2, we're getting a brand new zone of Nazjatar, which is a very Naga-themed area. Nazjatar, at least to me, looks like an area, a portion of the sea floor that has risen out of the ocean. So we're not going to have to swim everywhere like we did in Vashj'ir. You won't have to deal with the underwater mobility and the 3D verticality that implies. You'll actually have your feet planted on the floor, exploring the ocean floor with all the different flora, the corals. I'm honestly very excited because it looks really pretty, really beautiful. And the best part is there's so much more that can be put into it. All the Naga themes, all the different enemies, which there's supposed to be plenty of. Nazjatar is going to be a zone that has 5 different subzones, so there's going to be different aspects of Naga culture. You also will have a variety of different enemies to fight, from the basic Naga to a lot more creative enemies that Blizzard is going to put in. The area is also going to have world quests as well as PvP zone objectives. You'll also be able to make friends with some of the denizens of Nazjatar, and you'll be able to fill up a bar of reputation with them in order to get extra bonuses for them. The area is supposed to also have a lot more rewards for it, like mounts, for example, like an actual seahorse with half horse, half seahorse, and a crab that you can ride on. If anything, I'm gonna guess the place is going to be very similar to the Broken Isles. Rares everywhere, world bosses all over the place, and maybe certain rare spawns that happen once in a while, or if you complete certain objectives. And I will also bet my bottom dollar that you will be able to use this place as a catch-up mechanism for a lot of your alts. Very similar to how right now we have catch-up mechanisms for the current raid in the zone for Nazjatar. They'll probably upgrade the loot that you get from there, from that specific zone, to maybe normal quality or even base Alafarish quality of the brand new raid. I would guess maybe between, I don't know, 400, 410, 405, maybe somewhere around that ballpark if I had to take a guess. The zone is going to obviously hold the brand new raid, Jaras Eternal Palace. Now Blizzard said it's an 8-boss raid with a whole Naga hierarchy, so I'm pretty sure we're going to start with, let's say, maybe the pawns of Naga, and then move on to the bishop, the queen, the officers, and eventually to Ajara herself. During the BlizzCon presentation, Blizzard also teased an underwater boss. Not really sure if they will do one, as a lot of players in World of Warcraft before, especially with Vashj'ir, complained about the underwater combat. The movement in underwater, the combat underwater just doesn't feel quite as smooth as players actually walking around with gravity on land. So it'll be very challenging and difficult to make the fight work for underwater, but I feel like Blizzard, if they're very careful and do a lot of raid testing on PTR for it, they could actually make a very unique boss experience. Now, I don't think that underwater combat on its own is bad, and I do believe that Blizzard themselves could make it one of the coolest fights ever if they do it right. We also get a new zone called MechaGaN, an underground city of goblins and gnomes that live together under the king MechaGaN. It's going to be an area where we can venture, and it will also have a dungeon, which will be very similar to Karazhan of Legion. Have like a two-parter, like an upper and lower. Maybe we'll have upper MechaGaN, lower MechaGaN, or like a part 1 or part 2. We also will be introduced to Mecha Gnomes, which is a very possible, if not a guaranteed, allied race for Alliance in the future, and maybe the Horde will get something in itself on the horizon. The dungeon itself is supposed to be about 8 bosses with a variety of different enemies, and I really do love this steampunk, very big, very massive and creative type of appearance that it has, at least from the pictures that we saw back in BlizzCon. It's obviously going to have better gear, but also better rewards, and maybe a mount or two. I wouldn't be surprised if they put some kind of a mech mount inside of the dungeon, or maybe in a very similar acquirance that you could get the dragon mount back in Legion Karazhan. We also get Heritage Armor in patch 8.2, 2 more races, not brand new races, but actually vanilla races we've had from the start are getting new Heritage Armor. Kind of like how recently we had the Blood Elves and the Dwarves get Heritage Armor. In patch 8.2, we get Heritage Armor for the Gnomes and Heritage Armor for the Tauren. The Gnome one definitely embodies the idea of being an engineer. It has a little bit of that kind of mix of maybe could be a caster, maybe could be a warrior, but I really do love the whole tech feel behind it. I'm pretty sure once we get to see the armor itself, there'll be a lot of moving parts like cogwheels turning. And overall it looks presentable, but where I'm really impressed at is the Heritage Armor for the Tauren. Something about this whole Navajo style, the big ass totem on the back, the shoulders, the feathers everywhere. I just love it. I do wonder what's gonna look like on a female Tauren, because in a male Tauren it really does look big, bold, and empowering. Again, I cannot overstress the massive totem that sits on their back. This really brings me back to Warcraft 3 days, where Tauren as a unit for the orcs would actually beat people with a massive totem that they carried. So this is gonna look amazing. Makes me want to level a Tauren or transfer one of my characters over to a Tauren and grind out the rep, just so I can have the Heritage Armor as soon as it's available. Then we have 2 new islands being added in patch 8.2. One of them is Crestfall, which is a throwback to Warcraft 2. Then Snow Blossom is a very Pandaria themed, very much a Valley of Four Winds looking place. Overall, I do like the fact that they're adding islands. I do try to get at least the weekly cap of islands, at least on my main, and when seeing the same maps over and over and over, I do get tired of them pretty quickly. So seeing more maps getting thrown at us, more variety to look at visually as well as to play through is always a good idea. For PvP, we also get Season 3 with various mounts like basilisks and a brand new MechaGaN arena. Actually, I'm interested in what the arena is going to look like. It looks like an arena with 0 line of sight. But you know what I see down the middle? A hole in the middle. I do wonder if you can knock players into that hole somehow. Or maybe that hole will be an area where a pillar will come from time to time. I'm very interested how MechaGaN will play out, because in the first image look, we do have an arena with no pillars. It looks just like a free open space with 0 pillars to work with. This is going to be weird because even Ruins of Lordaeron, which is the one map that has the least amount of line of sight, has the big tombstone in the middle, tombstone on the side, so there's still line of sight that you can play with. But MechaGaN looks pretty barren. And also, what's about that hole down the middle? Can you actually use that to knock players into the hole? So are you an elemental shaman who's going to be knocking warriors into that? I mean, that sounds like it would be very gimmicky. They're also adding flying in patch 8.2, and it apparently is said that Nazjatar and MechaGaN will be 2 areas added in patch 8.2 where you'll also be able to fly. I'm also guessing that patch 8.2 will introduce a lot more new flying mounts. For example, like the bee. I remember seeing the bee mount way back in the day in World of Warcraft BFA beta, and I still don't know how to get that bee. Pretty sure they'll add more flying mounts and opportunities for flying mounts with the release of 8.2. Also, heroic Warfronts are coming in patch 8.2, which are far more difficult than regular Warfronts that can be played between 10 to 20 players, and I'm gonna guess they're gonna have much better rewards. I think on paper the idea of heroic Warfronts, a Warfront that's actually kind of a challenge that has mechanics that are meant to be played with a group of players, has potential. Whether it'll be successful or not, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe people are kind of fed up with Warfronts, feeling like they're kind of an AFK fest, so it doesn't feel like it's really worth trying at them. But maybe the fact that the difficulty spike in the Warfronts will happen, the fact that you actually have to get your troops, have to get your buildings up and running, and have to go defend objectives in order to win, might create a little bit of that spice to make it more desirable. There's also going to be a new themed affix for Season 3 of Mythic Plus Dungeons. It's going to be a Naga themed affix, and I've taken some time before recording this part to think of different affixes that it could be, but we really won't know what kind of theme we're going for until we get to see some of the boss mechanics from the brand new raid of Jara. In 8.2, they're going to improve the transmog options for every single character, as you'll be able to hide every aspect of your gear but the pants. Now all Blizzard needs to do is allow us the choice of only one shoulder piece that we want, either right shoulder to show or only the left shoulder to show, and then I feel like we'll have a lot more customization aspects that at least I could do definitely on my character. We're also getting a lot of the Naga themed armor weapons from the brand new raid, and maybe Naga as a zone will drop certain drops that are purely cosmetic. From some of the smaller things in 8.2, they'll be adding a portal to Caverns of Time in the portal rooms. Blizzard have heard the community and they decided, yes, Caverns of Time will be re-added as a viable portal since so many people used it way back in the day. In the future of patch 8.2, probably 8.2.5, they'll be doing updates to the Worgen and the Goblin models, as well as loosening some of the restrictions for some of the silly items in the game when it comes to transmogs. That's about everything I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on patch 8.2 and what is the part of the patch that excites you. Let me know that in the comments below. Thank you guys, and I'll see all of you in another video.